When a suspicious fire happens in Illinois, it's likely officials will bring in the dogs. The State Division of Arson Investigation currently has 7 certified canine teams. Joining us in studio for this episode of the Paul Report, Kit and investigator Shane Arndt to talk about their work throughout central Illinois. Stay with us.
Fetcher's Pet Supply on the north side of the Charleston Square, serving the EIU community since 1991. Fetcher's welcomes all pets on a leash, is open 7 days a week, and offers made in the USA food. Pet supplies for dogs, cats, reptiles, and fish. Fetcher's Pet Supply in Charleston.
The Paul Report on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, livestock feed, farm equipment, pet supplies, and more. You can find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com.
Dave's Decorating Center is a proud supporter of the Power Report on WEIU. Dave's Decorating Center features the Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean Carpet. Dave's Decorating Center, authorized Mohawk Color Center in Charleston.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition of the Paul Report. We have 2 first-time guests joining us today. We have a 4-legged friend and then a 2-legged friend of mine. We'd like to welcome Shane Arndt and his pal Kit to the program today. And we're learning all about the Canine Division of the Arson Investigation arm of the State Fire Marshal's Office. So Shane and Kit, who's, you know, as we said prior to recording here, she's pretty rambunctious. Thanks for joining us for the program today.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Shane, tell us about you. As I mentioned, you're a first-time guest to the Paul Report, so thank you. But you have a long history in law enforcement, so tell us about you.
Yep. I originally started with the Juvenile Probation Office in Macon County as a juvenile probation officer. I spent about 6 years there, and then I got on with the Macon County Sheriff's Department, and I was a deputy there for approximately 6 years. And then that's when I came over to the Illinois State Fire Marshal's Office as a special agent here with the Arson Division. I've been here about 19 years.
So what made you decide that you wanted to go this route in your career and spend your time with a 4-legged buddy like Kit?
Well, I had a lot of construction background prior to becoming law enforcement, and it kind of did my, put my hobby and my profession together, and having the dog was an added benefit.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about the Division of Arson Investigations. What is the mission of your area within the State Fire Marshal's Office?
Basically, the Arson Division is here to provide police and fire knowledge and experience to the local fire departments and the state, federal, and local police departments as well. We come in and can help out with investigations. We can also help out with collection of evidence, courtroom testimony, expertise opinions, that type of stuff.
Well, that kind of leads me into my next question on your role as an arson investigator. You're actually sworn in as a peace officer, so you can do a variety of different things, like what you just said. So you can testify. Can you make arrests?
Yes, we do.
And you go to court. Other things that you do as an officer?
No different than a normal police officer would. We're kind of several different roles all in one. We're a detective, so to speak, with the local agency. We take calls in, and at that point we do the investigation of the scene. We do the detective work afterwards if needed, as far as backgrounds, talking to people, interviewing, looking up different histories, that type of stuff, doing just the overall investigation work of it. And then on top of that, when we're at the scene, if there's evidence that needs to be collected, then we can do the crime scene type stuff. So we can collect evidence, we know how to package it, we know how to transfer it, we turn it into the lab, get all that type of stuff. And then on top of that, with my partner here, Kit, then we always, we're allowed to use the canine also, and that part is kind of more the forensic side of it as well. So it leads us to, a little bit more into the the collection of evidence and the quality of the evidence that we collect.
Speaking of investigations and scenes that you have gone to, let's talk a little statistics, fire statistics from your office. Fires each year, maybe how many are looked at as possible arson investigations.
Okay, I know in 2019 there were 1.3 million incidents that fire departments responded to here in Illinois. There's approximately 36,000 roughly fire incidents, and there was approximately 15 or 16,000 that were structure fires. I know out of those there was like 110 fatal fires where people died in them. And then out of all those, the fires, the structure fires themselves, we as an agency, just as the arson division, we looked at approximately 1,050 fires. Out of those 1,050, the dogs usually run about a quarter of those.
How many canine teams are there in the state, and how is it split up into regions or different divisions?
Yeah, there's 7 current teams right now. I know we try and keep it to where there's a minimal response time, so we kind of try and base it in the state as far as like maybe 2 or 3 hours, depending on where the dog's located at. Because a lot of what we do also, it's not just working the fire scenes and having the canines with us. It's providing a service for other agencies. So if there's a paid fire department that has their own investigation team, or a fire and police department that has their own investigation team, then we can come in and provide just a canine service for them. We don't have to come in and do the entire scene or do the entire investigation for them. They handle it all on their own, and we come in and help them out with just the canine part of it.
So you're called and you need to report to a location. How is the canine used, or how is a canine used in investigations when you get to a scene?
Basically, when we get there, we meet with whoever's in charge of the scene at that time, whether it's police and fire or whoever's got the control of the scene. And then at that point, we determine whether the kind of our role is going to be in that investigation, whether we're going to be handling the entire thing or whether we're all working together, obviously, or if we're just working with the canines. Because it just depends on the local jurisdiction, what you're doing, what they need. But once we get there, then we can kind of determine what our role is. And then if it's just the canine side, then we go in and we'll look around the scene, make sure it's safe enough for not only us, but for them too. There's no place I'd send her that I wouldn't go myself. Because if I can get into it, I know she can get into it.
Right.
So we make sure the scene's safe initially. We also let them break and kind of get water, walk around, get kind of acclimated to the scene some, and then we go in and put them to work.
What are the benefits to having an investigator like Kit on a scene? I mean, obviously the human importance is tremendous on a scene, but when you bring in a dog, what can they do that maybe we can't?
A lot of what they do is they speed up the process. So instead of being there for hours, maybe days, we can work through a scene a lot quicker as far as being able to determine if anything flammable or ignitable may have been used. The other thing that they really provide, which is probably the biggest role in there, is our sample qualities have really gone up. So instead of judging and trying to figure out an area to collect a sample from, the canines come in and pinpoint within inches of where we need to collect our samples from. So our evidence collection is a lot higher. Our results are a lot better than what we had in the past.
Shane, we're recording this show at the end of June, and actually you and Kit haven't worked together all that long. There's a lot of training, though, that goes into becoming a partnership and a trained canine. Tell us about that and how you kind of were introduced to Kit and how that process to get her up to speed goes.
Yeah, generally, it's a program through State Farm Insurance, and what they do is it's a grant program. You apply for it, and they give you the yes or no, depending on if that canine is needed in the region that you're in. And then you basically, once you get selected for the program, then you go out to the state of Maine, where the training is actually held at, and it's provided by the Maine specialty dogs, but it's accredited through the Maine State Police Academy. And what they do is they basically partner you up. They interview you and get a feel for you and your disposition and attitude, and then they partner you up with one of the canines that they have. The guy that's in charge, Paul Gallagher, he's been doing it for probably more years than I've been around, and he's real good at knowing the dogs and knowing how to partner up people and the canines together. Once they partner you up, you're together for 4 weeks, and the first couple of weeks you kind of getting accustomed to the dog and learning how to work the lead, because the dogs are always on a lead for safety reasons, without tripping over everything, because usually fire scenes, they're full of everything.
Debris and everything.
So you got to learn how to walk and not constantly fall on the dog or fall into a hole or whatever else. So it's just working, getting used to one another. And then one of the things that we really got to do is bond together as a team, because like one of the other handlers can't take one of the other dogs and just go work a scene together. They don't know each other well enough. So one of the things that we're doing is we're learning how to read the dog, because there's subtle things that we may pick up that would lead us, to run that area again, or, some areas may be stronger, alerts than other areas. So it just really depends, but you really need to understand and learn the dog individually. So when we go through the 4 weeks, we go through a lot of the different trainings that we have to do every day, because one of the things that we do is we train with them multiple times a day. So instead of some of the canines that are out there, they may only train once or twice a week. We're training 2 to 3 times a day. It's a food reward program, so which doesn't mean that they're obviously deprived of food. It just means we keep track of how much they're eating and what we're doing at the time that we do it. So actually, she's been averaging about twice as much to 2.5 times what a normal pet has for food intake every day.
So another part of that training, besides the human aspect of it, getting to know each other and leads, they also train on accelerant detection. Is that a big part of it, or is that when before she's put into service, how does that process work?
Yeah, it's the same thing. They know the odor that they're looking for, and it all has a common component, and that's the odor that they're looking for. So you're continually working with that odor the whole time, and what you're more or less looking for is you're trying to train them, because these structures that we're going into, there's all kinds of smells, millions of smells that they're trying to determine between, and they've got to detect that one smell. So the biggest thing is they want to be able to discriminate between what's in there and what they're looking for. So which they do a fabulous job of it. I mean, they are actually trained. We work them enough and train them to the point that they can pinpoint within inches of where we need to collect this stuff. So out of all these other smells, they can literally pick that smell up. One of the examples they used to give us back, again, I've been doing this for 19 years, so back in the day was, if you go by McDonald's, you can smell that they're cooking Big Macs. Well, the dog can not only smell that, but they can literally smell every single ingredient in that Big Mac, and they can distinguish between each ingredient. So there's a fabulous nose that's there, and it's just a matter of us being able to utilize the nose.
So on a scene, does Kit sit? How does Kit alert you that there's something there that you might need to collect?
Yeah, the primary is a sit and point with their nose. A lot of them, they may just slow down. They may point their head that direction. It just really depends on how strong the odor is at that point, and if there's anything in the way, because sometimes there's stuff you may have to move to get into the area that you need to get to.
A couple of things, and you mentioned earlier in the interview how Kit is matched to somebody like you. Is it personality on both ends? They kind of check you out, they check her out. I know you've had 3 or 4 other dogs in the past. Are they all similar to kind of you?
In a way. So the running joke is the dogs take on the handler's traits. But usually our dogs are really wound up. They are high energy, and that's what they like. We want them to be able to go into scenes and just roam through and do whatever they need to do to find what they're looking for. So we let them get into a lot of stuff. She's probably the most relaxed I've ever had. Like you said, I'm on my 4th one. All 3 of my other ones have just been high energy and just out of this world, to where she's a little more laid back, sit here and sleep the whole time.
Yeah,
the other
right.
ones, you're corralling the whole day. So So evidently it's a testament to me getting a little older, I guess. So.
Well, we see what Kit does during business hours. She's with you after hours too. She becomes part of your family. What happens when the business clock goes off and you two head home?
Yeah, it's the same thing. You know, once they, until we give a few signs and we do a certain routine, then they know it's just every day being a dog. You know, once you do a few things and get them up and going, they realize it's time to go to work, and that's when, you know, the switch flicks. And but once you go home, they're just an average pet, just like everybody else. So they become part of the family. Just like, you know, I got 2 kids at home, and I got the retired dog still at home. So, you know, they just lay around and partner around. And the biggest thing is you don't get that day off, you know, because you know ahead of time that you still got to work the dog even on your days off. If you go on vacation, you got to make arrangements for them to go with you. So it's a big commitment.
You know, I noticed, and I've met one of your canine companions, and they're Labrador Retrievers. Is that typically the breed that the division uses, or is there other breeds mixed in as well? And why particularly Labs?
Yeah, primarily we use Labradors. Over the past several years, they've gotten into a little bit where they'll use Goldadors, which are Golden Retriever Lab mix. We get a lot of ours from the CNI group, you know, where they'll literally breed and train them to work with the blind to help out CNI. And they, for some reason or another, whether they have too much energy or they're attracted to small animals, or, you know, they're distracted, whatever the issue may be, they don't make it with that program. And we've got an agreement with our group that, not just state of Illinois, but with the training group, that they call when they have a group of dogs that are being reappropriated, and we go up and we look to see, you know, if they have what we're looking for, and as long as they have it, then they get pulled into our group.
Another part of Kit's job, and your job too, aside from scene work, investigations, you also do a lot of community outreach, which is really kind of what we're doing here today. We're talking about your job and your office, and kind of shedding some light on the canine program. What else do you do in your day-to-day work hours where you get out in the public? And I would think that plays a part in temperament of the dog too, if they're around people a lot.
Right, it does, and that's one of the reasons we use Labs, is just their disposition. You know, they're real calm. People don't feel threatened by them. People will approach you, you know, compared to if you have other canines that are used in law enforcement. So I mean, we go to different things. You know, for years I did grade school events for my kids. You know, I've gone and done preschools. I've done demonstrations at at preschools or other civic events that are out there. There was, a few years ago, there was a law enforcement group over in Vermilion County that was trying to gather money for a canine, and they had several police canine over there doing demonstrations for the public, and they wanted to know if we'd come over. So we went over for the day, and, you know, was able to walk around, and people could come up and pet these, you know, with no worries, and showed everybody kind of what our dogs will do. So yeah, we get out there quite a bit. You know, I do some ag classes, I do some forensic science classes. It just depends on what people need. You know, we've gone to different events. When I was down in Metro East area for a few years, we'd go to, if they had a local event, you know, like an insurance agent was putting on something for the kids or the community, we may get called there, you know, just to kind of show off what the dogs will do, and just people meet the canines. We'd have events at the state fair. When we have a tent at the state fair every year, we generally try and keep a dog out there, just so people understand that we're using the canines, and it's good for them because they get socialized with people. So yeah, I mean, we're out in the public all the time, so it's good for them to be socialized every day.
Well, I think it's a good way to transition this segment of the Paw Report, speaking of demonstrations and showing off the dog, specifically Kit. I know you've brought some things with you today, and here in just a second we're going to take a look at Kit in action, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
All right, we'll be back right after this. If you're a veterinarian, trainer, groomer, specialist, rescue organization, or shelter that would like to partner with the Paw Report by providing expert guests for the show, please contact us by emailing weiu@weiu.net or call 217-581-5956. If you have a topic you'd like to see on the show or questions for our experts, contact us with those too. Well, we're back. We've kind of moved some things on the set. We're here with Shane Arndt and his companion and work buddy, Kit. And on this part of the Paw Report, we're going to actually do some demonstrations. Well, we want to see Kit in action, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, Shane. So tell us, we've moved, we've got some things behind us. Tell us what you brought as far as the training mechanisms.
Okay, one of the things that we do, like I explained to you earlier, is we've got to be able to go into a structure or scene, and they've got to be able to distinguish between a lot of different smells, different odors that they're smelling. So one of the things that we do is scent discrimination, which is in these cans here, I've got like wood, plastic, some styrofoam, clothing material, stuff that you would normally find in your average house or at your average business or any structure just in general. Obviously, the wood would be your framing or anything that you build stuff out of. So we throw those into cans, we heat them up with a torch, and once they cool off, then we come through and we run her through, and one of the cans we put the odor that she's looking for, the ignitable flammable liquid. We put a drop or two in it, and it's kind of like the old, ball under the Solo cup type thing. You move them around, they got to tell you which one's which.
So you don't have any verbal commands with her? I mean, you just kind of take her, you're going to show us, but is that part of it too? Any verbal commands like just hit this or? Yeah,
just a few. We use a few verbal cues, but most of the time we just let them, and what you'll notice is I do a lot of stuff from my knees down because they're at that level. So they're not constantly looking up. They're, so everything we need to do is down low. So I'll use hand commands, just basically showing them what direction I want them to go. And then the verbal command I'll use is basically just saying, okay, look for it, but other than that, no, we don't do a lot of obedience training with them because we want them to go in and get into everything. So if they got something they want to look at, you let them look at it.
And with those eyes, she's got the prettiest eyes. They're just big puppy dog eyes, but I think she's ready. So I'll let you do your thing. I'm going to watch, and I know everybody at home is going to watch too. So let's see Kit in action.
Well, one of the things that we explained earlier is they're a food reward. So in this pouch is basically food. So one of the things that we do when we initially start getting ready for work or training or something like that is you notice she's a little more attentive now compared to what she was a little bit ago, because I've got the food pouch on. That's kind of her cue that, hey, it's time to go to work. So obviously now she knows that it's time. So basically what we do is I'll go through, I'll give her a command to go this direction. She'll work through these cans, and when she gets to the one that's got the odorant in it, then she'll sit down, she'll point at it with her nose, and I'll continue to walk by and she won't come off of it. And I'll come back to her, I'll feed her a handful of food, and we move on. That's how quick it goes. So I'll show you real quick kind of what she does. Ready to go to work? Yeah, you ready to go to work? All right, come on. Right here. Ready? Hey, seek. 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 Good girl, Kit. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, it is. So one of the things that we do, seek. One of the things that we always do is we give them a lot of praise. That's part of the reward system is the praise and the love to go along with it. They like the higher pitched voices, so we always call it the cheerleader voice. So that's one of the things you'll hear us do is our pitch will go up and we'll praise the dog for that, because once they've been doing it for a while, they're not looking for the food. They're looking for the love that you're giving them afterwards. So I'll show you again real quick. Here, Kit, ready? Seek. 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 Good girl, Kit. Good girl. Hey, that's a good girl. Yes, it is. Here. Seek. Seek. Seek.
And
but that right there how quick it is.
And that's how she would perform on a scene.
Just
as well.
like she would do on a scene. So
and then you collect the evidence, and then it goes to where it needs to go to be tested. You said that she's trained on a lot of different accelerants, and we don't have to go through the whole laundry list, but can you give us kind of the general overview on the scents that she's trained to hit on?
Yeah, it's basically any ignitable or flammable liquid. There's a whole array of them. So basically what we would do at this point is if we're in a scene and she alerts somewhere, then it's basically an indication for us to go back and look in that area to see what's there. There are things in fire scenes that are supposed to be there. You know, lighters, you know, just about every household's got, you know, a lighter or something that should be there, fingernail polish remover. So stuff like that. I know a lot of, if you live out in rural areas, you may have lamp oil or something.
Sure.
You know, so a lot of those things are already supposed to be in the house. So just because the canine's alert in a structure doesn't mean it's an intentional fire. It just means that's an area we need to go look at. So once we collect it, we send it off to the lab, they tell us what it is, then we continue with the investigation at that point.
As we wrap up our fun time here today on the Paw Report, memorable cases and maybe a memorable story with Kit that you can send us out on?
Yeah, Kit, you know, basically when I first got her, obviously she's a little more laid back than what I'm used to. So one of the things that I joked around about was that I must be getting a little bit older because they gave me one that slowed down quite a bit. So, but she is mellow, but like you said, the minute you get ready to go to work, she changes her attitude altogether.
Well, Shane and Kit, we so appreciate the time that you spent here on the Paw Report. I know you came all the way from Springfield today, or in the area, so we appreciate your time and showing us what you do and giving us a little insight on the arson division at the State Fire Marshal's office. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kelly. I
And
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Are you giving any kisses out today? No,
Always.
she's working.
Always.
And thank you for joining us for this edition of the Paw Report. Until next time, I'm your host, Kelly Goodwin, and we'll see you then.
Dave's Decorating Center is a proud supporter of the Paw Report on WEIU. Dave's Decorating Center features the Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean Carpet. Dave's Decorating Center, authorized Mohawk Color Center in Charleston.
The Paw Report on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, livestock feed, farm equipment, pet supplies, and more. You can find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com.
Fetcher's Pet Supply on the north side of the Charleston Square, serving the EIU community since 1991. Fetcher's welcomes all pets on a leash, is open 7 days a week, and offers made in the USA food. Pet supplies for dogs, cats, reptiles, and fish. Fetcher's Pet Supply in Charleston.